Ever found yourself in a job you despise, staring at the clock, waiting for it to hit 5 p.m.? This is a scenario all too common, a universal experience that most of us can relate to. There's a certain type of dread that seeps in, a heavy feeling of dissatisfaction that weighs on your shoulders like a leaden coat. You might find yourself questioning your choices, wondering how you ended up in a job that feels more like a cage than a platform for growth. The work you do no longer excites you. The tasks feel mundane and the environment stifles your creativity. You feel trapped, yearning for change, longing for something more fulfilling, more aligned with your passions and your dreams. This feeling of job dissatisfaction is not uncommon. In fact, it's a sentiment shared by millions across the globe. We live in a world where many of us are spending the majority of our waking hours at work, and yet, a significant number of us are not happy with what we do. This dissatisfaction can stem from various sources. Perhaps it's the lack of growth opportunities, or maybe it's the monotonous routine. Some might feel underappreciated or undervalued, while others might simply not find their work meaningful. These feelings can lead to a sense of disillusionment, a disconnection from the work we do, and ultimately, a disconnection from ourselves. But what if there was a different way to view this situation? What if there was a way to shift your perspective and see your job in a new light? This is where the wisdom of an old man, deeply rooted in Tao philosophy, comes into play. This old man, through his understanding of Tao, found a way to navigate through the rough seas of job dissatisfaction and came out on the other end with a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment. His wisdom, derived from ancient philosophy, holds the potential to transform how we perceive our jobs and our lives. But what if I told you there was an old man who found wisdom in Tao philosophy that could potentially change your perspective? Let me tell you a story about an old man who was once in your shoes. There was a young man, full of vigor and ambition. He worked tirelessly, his mind teeming with dreams of success, his heart brimming with passion. But as the years wore on, he found himself growing weary. His dreams began to fade, and his passion started to wane. His once vibrant spirit was now a mere flicker, buried under the weight of his job dissatisfaction. He lived this way for years, trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction and disillusionment. Until one day he stumbled upon an old, worn-out book in a dusty corner of a forgotten bookstore. The book was about Tao philosophy, an ancient Chinese philosophy that emphasizes living in harmony with the Tao, the natural order of the universe. Intrigued, the man delved into the book. He read about the principles of Tao, about the balance of yin and yang, about the importance of living in the present moment, about the virtue of simplicity, about the wisdom of letting go. He was captivated by the teachings of Tao. As he read, he began to see his life in a new light. He realized that his dissatisfaction stemmed not from his job, but from his perception of it. He was chasing after success, but in doing so, he had lost sight of the present moment. He was clinging to his dreams, but in doing so, he had forgotten the virtue of simplicity. He was holding on to his ambitions, but in doing so, he had overlooked the wisdom of letting go. Inspired by the teachings of Tao, the man decided to change his approach to life. He began to live in the present moment, to appreciate the simplicity in life, to let go of his attachments. He found a newfound sense of peace and fulfillment. His job dissatisfaction dissipated, replaced by a sense of contentment and enlightenment. The old man's life transformed when he discovered the wisdom of Tao, and he has some advice for anyone feeling dissatisfied in their job. So, what is this Tao wisdom the old man discovered? Well, the Tao, also known as Tao, is a fundamental concept in Chinese philosophy. It's not easily defined, but it can be seen as the natural order of the universe, the way everything flows and connects. It's the underlying current that guides all life, a force that we can't see but can learn to understand and follow. At the heart of Tao philosophy is the idea of balance. It's about embracing both the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, understanding that they are not opposing forces but complementary ones. They exist in harmony, each one necessary for the other's existence. Just as there is no day without night, there can be no joy without sorrow, no success without failure. Harmony is another crucial aspect of Tao. It's about living in sync with the natural rhythm of life, not fighting against it. This means accepting change as an inherent part of existence, not resisting it. It's about understanding that the only constant in life is change itself, and learning to flow with it rather than against it. And then there's acceptance. Tao teaches us to accept ourselves, our circumstances, and the world around us just as they are. It encourages us to let go of our desire to control and manipulate, and instead, to trust in the natural order of things. Acceptance in Tao philosophy is not about resignation or passivity. It's about acknowledging reality without judgment or resistance and finding peace in that. These principles of balance, harmony, and acceptance are central to the Tao philosophy. They offer a different perspective on life, one that can bring peace and wisdom. They remind us that we are part of a larger whole, interconnected and interdependent, moving with the natural flow of the universe. Now, let's delve into the old man's advice, inspired by these Tao principles. Firstly, the old man believed in the Tao principle of Wu Wei, or effortless action. This is a concept that might seem contrary to our modern-day work ethics, which often value constant action and productivity. Yet, in the Wisdom of Tao, Wu Wei teaches us that sometimes the most impactful actions are those that are effortless, that flow naturally without forced effort or struggle. The old man's advice was not to abandon work or shirk responsibilities, but to align oneself with the natural course of things. He spoke of viewing our jobs not as burdensome obligations, but as opportunities to contribute to the world in our own unique ways. He encouraged us to find the Wu Wei in our work, to seek out those aspects of our jobs that feel natural and fulfilling, and to let those guide our efforts. He suggested that if we're constantly struggling, constantly swimming against the tide in our jobs, then perhaps we're not in the right river. The Tao philosophy encourages us to find the river where we can swim with the current, not against it. This doesn't necessarily mean quitting your job, but rather finding ways to align your work with your natural inclinations and strengths. The old man's advice was rooted in the belief that Wu Wei can bring about a sense of serenity and satisfaction in our work. By embracing this principle, we can transform our perspective on our jobs from something we must do to something we get to do. This shift in perspective can make all the difference, turning daily tasks into meaningful actions and transforming mundane routines into opportunities for growth and fulfillment. It's not about escaping work, but about finding work that doesn't feel like work. It's about aligning our actions with our nature so they flow effortlessly and bring joy instead of stress. This is the wisdom of Wu Wei, the wisdom of the old man. The old man found that by embracing Wu Wei, he could transform his perspective on his job. But how can you apply this ancient wisdom to your modern-day job dissatisfaction? You might be pondering this question after hearing the old man's advice. Well, let's delve into some practical ways you can bring this wisdom into your own life, starting right now. First, embrace the principle of Wu Wei, or effortless action. This doesn't mean being lazy or unproductive. Quite the opposite. It's about aligning your actions with the flow of life, like a river flows naturally toward the sea. In your job, it could mean focusing on tasks that come naturally to you, that you're good at and enjoy. It could also mean letting go of the need to control every outcome, reducing your stress and increasing your satisfaction. Second, cultivate the yin-yang philosophy. Recognize that all things, including your job, have both positive and negative aspects. Maybe your job is stressful, but it provides for your family. Maybe it's mundane, but it allows you to listen to your favorite podcasts. This perspective can help you appreciate the balance in your job and life. Third, practice Ziran, or naturalness. Be authentic and genuine at work. Embrace your uniqueness. This can lead to a sense of fulfillment and happiness, as you're not pretending to be someone you're not. Lastly, remember the concept of Pu, the uncarved block, symbolizing pure potential. See yourself as an uncarved block at your job, with the potential to shape your career in any way you wish. This mindset can give you the motivation to grow and learn, to carve out your own path. In applying these principles of Tao philosophy, you might find your job dissatisfaction ebbing away, replaced by a newfound sense of satisfaction and peace. Remember, the path to job satisfaction may not be about changing what you do, but changing how you perceive what you do. This was the wisdom the old man found in Tao,